going to work here. Okay.
Oh, it's the same.
We are on the air. It's SuhanUnfiltered.com on the Alive and Social Network. I'm here with Torii Hunter in Fort Myers, back where it all began at spring training. Before we get going here, I want to thank my sponsors, The Local, Kieran's Irish Pub, two great Irish pubs downtown Minneapolis, O'Gara's Bar and Grill, the great Irish pub in St. Paul. A lot more sponsors jumping on board. Torii, my first spring training covering the Twins, 1993. Mm-hmm. I walk in, and there's Kirby Puckett sitting back against the wall, and then there's Dave Winfield 2 lockers away, and then there's some young kid sitting between them.
That was impressive. That's, I'm an 18-year-old kid, and, to get between 2 Hall of Famers, right now, Kirby Puckett and Dave Winfield, man, it was an honor. I was so nervous because I was there early. And these guys, they came walking in, and I knew it was Kirby, and then I knew it was Winfield, and I see these guys coming, and I was just so nervous. Like, I didn't know. I was like a big fan and didn't know what to say, and I just kept my mouth closed. And he's like, "You going to say something?" And I was like, "How you doing, Mr. Puckett?" He said, "Don't ever call me Mr. Puckett again. My name is Kirby." And right then and there, that's how we hit it off. And Winfield, I think he had a earthquake in California at that time, and he showed me some pictures of his home and his family and different things like that. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do those things, and they took me under their wing, took me to dinner, and took me out and hang out, and I really appreciate those guys, man. To this day, that's something that I try to implement in my career and try to help these young guys the same way.
So how much money did you take out of Puckett's wallet that spring?
Well, he had like a little petty cash. He had something called petty cash in his locker, and whenever you wanted to get some money, you can just jump in and get some petty cash. And one day I left my money at the hotel, and I needed some money because we were going straight to this restaurant, and I didn't have any money, so I went in his petty cash and got like $50 or something like that, and we have to be, it's called the honor system, mm-hmm. and you have to be honorable and put it back, and that's what I did. I put the $50 back the next morning, and I saw all that cash, man. It's so tempting because it was like 10 grand in there.
Yep.
You talking about an 18-year-old guy from the hood. I was gonna take it.
Well, tell me about the hood. I mean, how do you go, and how do you go from, as you say, a young man growing up in the hood to being a lifelong baseball star? How do you make that life move?
Well, just a lot of people, played a part in that. Whether it was Kirby or Jerry White, a lot of people, away from baseball. There's a lot of men that I had in my life that kind of showed me how to be a man, and my dad was always working. He was on drugs and different things like that. So, and his dad wasn't there either. So my dad couldn't be a man as well and couldn't show me how to be a man. And so I was able to get it from different men all around me. And so I had a lot of people that imparted in me of showing me how to be a professional, on the field and professional off the field. So I have to commend those guys and all those people that played a part in my life.
Tell me what it was like growing up. Pine Bluff, Arkansas, right?
Yeah, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, man. It was, one thing about Pine Bluff in my neighborhood, when somebody didn't have it, we all tried to lift each other up and pick each other up. And, we had a group in our block, and, if one didn't have bread, we knock on the door and the other one had bread. We share it. If somebody didn't have meat, we knocked on the door and we share it. And we did that. Sugar or whatever, flour or whatever it may be, we all took care of each other. And that's one thing that I know that Pine Bluff did. We took care of each other. But just growing up, it was tough. The lights would be cut off. We'd have no food sometime, no AC, no air, in 105 degrees, and the windows are open, and it was some tough times. Didn't have clothes. We always went to the Goodwills or hand-me-downs, and different things like that. So I definitely have to say, it's nothing negative. I definitely have to say, at the time I didn't know. I just kind of went with the flow. I thought this is the way life was. But at the same time, when I look back to this day, I thank God all the time, because it actually molded me and made me the person I am today. It made me want to give back because I know that there's kids out there just like I was. And so I definitely think that whatever I went through in the past, whether it, family issues or street issues or anything like that, that's what molded me and made me the man I am today. And I was able to raise my kids to be men and help and mentor these other kids and show them how to be men, not just on the baseball field, because that's a given, but also in life and finances and different things like that. I try to impart in those guys too.
And you talk about struggling. It also took you a long time to become a Major League Baseball star.
Right.
How difficult was that, and what got you through that? What helped you elevate yourself?
I was a type of guy that had to overcome failure, trials and tribulations and different things like that, because I had them in my life. I had those trials and those tribulations in my life, and I overcame those things. And so in baseball, I wasn't going to let something hold me down, and I had to kind of make adjustments. I knew I had to make adjustment on the slider, down and away. Mm-hmm. I had to make adjustment on playing the game and being more consistent. Not too many strikeouts and different things like that. And that's something that I'm still to this day. I'm still making adjustments on. And if once you think you learned everything, that's when life is going to stop. Whether it's in baseball, whether it's in the real world, if you think you know everything, life is going to stop. You can't grow anymore. And that's one reason why I'm still playing this game, because I'm always trying to learn and I'm always seeing something different in the game. And it's always somebody I can learn from. And so if I had to tell a young guy, about, this game of baseball, I would tell him, don't never stop learning, because if you do, you'll be at home watching this game.
The group you came up with, especially the 2001-2002 group, probably the most fun I've ever had writing about sports was being around you guys. That was a great clubhouse. It was a blast.
We were crazy.
Give me your favorite funny story from that group.
Oh, man. One of my favorites, though, of all time is Corey Koski and I and Jock Jones and Doug McCavish. All of us would mess with David Ortiz.
I was hoping you were going to tell this story.
It's the funniest story ever. And David Ortiz, was coming up, and he took a shower and everything. While he was in the shower, we actually put peanut butter in his underwear, a lot of it. And we was like, he's going to see that, and because he wore the tight whitey tight underwear, had white, so you can see the brown stuff. And but David was talking to us after he got a shower. He's talking to us, putting on his underwear. He's not looking at his underwear. He put it on. But nothing happened. Then he put his pants on. Then he put his shoes on. He put his shirt on. And he took like 5 or 6 steps. And then he realized, he stopped and paused dude, what did you guys do? He's mad. He's cursing us out. We on the ground crying, laughing. Koski's on the floor. Jock Jones on the floor. I'm on the floor crying, laughing with tears in my eyes. And we were like, dude, are you serious? You actually used to having stuff like that in your underwear? What do you do at night? Are you number 2 in your underwear all the time? We lit him up, and he was so mad he had to get back in the shower, take a shower, go home with no underwear on. It was funny. It was the best time ever.
I remember another layer to that story. Uh-huh. If I remember correctly, Koski put ice in one of his items of clothing to distract him from the fact there's peanut butter.
Yeah, he put ice in his socks.
That's what it was.
He put ice in his socks just to say, man, what is this? And it got away. I think that's why he didn't realize that he had peanut butter in his underwear. Man, Koski was crazy. He would cut your brand new pair of socks. He'll cut the tip off, so when you put them on, you go right through them, and they're up to your knee. And they're like, everybody's like, what happened? He would put your suit. We have to go on the road. He would get your suit and put it in a deep freezer, in a freezer, and just freeze the hell out of your suit, and then hang it back up. So you're trying to put it on. You're like, what's going on? Koski was a lot of fun, man, in that clubhouse. We all were. We all looked out. Nobody had hard feelings. Everybody was like, all right, payback as a mother. And so we had a.
By the way, this is a podcast. You can cuss if you want to.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you're inclined to, but you're allowed to.
I don't want to curse. I'll say some funny stuff, but it won't be cursing or anything. I have kids. Well, I have men, not really kids.
Yeah, you do. Well, tell me about the sons.
Oh man, Money's at Arkansas State. He's a safety. He played in a bowl game against Toledo this year on the ESPN, and he actually got a pick six for 94 yards.
Wow!
He picked off an interception, ran it back 96 yards, and had 11 tackles. So he's doing well. And Tori's at Notre Dame, playing football and baseball. Just made the baseball team 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
And he missed sports for 2 years after he broke his femur in 2013. And so he missed 2 years and missed baseball for 2 years. So he was like, I want to play baseball. I want to play baseball, but you're playing football. But he really wanted to come back and pursue his dream in baseball as well. And they allowed him to go out there and play because he's doing so well academically. And Darius is at Riverside, California, playing football, and he's doing well. He's bounced back from the trials and tribulations that he had, and he went through a lot. And he kind of got for 2 years, he kind of put himself in a shell. Didn't want to go out to no house parties. Didn't want to hang out. Didn't want nothing. He had a girlfriend, and he didn't want to go anywhere. And I'm like, dude, you're young. You have to get out and have fun, enjoy life. And so he of course, he had a sexual assault. If a lot of people don't know, he had a sexual assault brought up on him, and all that is put behind us, and nothing really happened, and nothing came out of it, but he's bounced back, and he's found his niche, and he's trying to fight through life right now.
What's it like being a dad for you?
Oh boy, dad is fun, but dad is hard work. You have to put in some work, and you have to make sure that you figure out how to be that dad, and not always your dad's way it's not always the right way. You have to figure out what the right way is. And, so I did a lot of studying and a lot of reading and writing, a lot of understanding and trying to figure out what it means to be a dad and a father. And so it's tough. It's a lot of hard work. Sometimes they don't listen, but at least you put it in them. And if the more you pour into those guys and those kids, and you give it to them, and you give them about things about life, about failures, and just hard work and different things like that, and you pour into them and let them know what's out there. And so when they leave and they depart from your home, they have it in them. Yeah, they're gonna make their own bundle of mistakes just like I did, but at least they have it in them. I didn't have a lot poured into me, and I didn't know, so I was like a pinball, just hitting everything, didn't know. And once I hit it, I know not to hit that anymore. Boom, and I hit that, and know not to. At least I was able to pour into them and make sure they don't go on these different routes, and they had it when those situations came up. They were able to walk away from it, or say, my dad said this is going to happen. This is how he say he got out of it. So if you impart in those kids, they won't depart from it when they leave.
Well, you and I used to have a lot of interesting conversations, and I remember one time you brought up finances, and you told me that you had been studying it, you had made some connections, and knew some people in Texas who helped you. They were very, I've covered a lot of athletes. Weren't many people I've met at that age. I'm talking when you're 28 or something like that.
Yeah,
when young. You are already plotting out your financial future, and not just as a way to preserve wealth, but to grow wealth.
Yeah, increase it. And that's what God wants us to do, man. He wants us all to increase, make money, not to be in debt. And those are things that we shouldn't do. We shouldn't be in debt. We should, if we can't afford it, don't go get that loan. You can't afford it. Just try to figure out how to get it. So you store away money, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 6 years, it doesn't matter. Store away to get what you need. And that's the way, that's the right way. But in the world today, hey, you can get a loan. You can get it at 21%, but they don't tell you 21% every month, and the credit cards and stuff like that. I've actually taught all my kids about debt. Don't be in debt. If you can't get it and pay cash for it, then you can't afford it. Work your way there. Store money away to get that car you want. Store money away to get. So I actually put them through exercises. I give them a certain amount of money every 2 weeks, and if they go below that and they don't have the money, then you can't afford what you're going to. Dad, can I get this? No. The one word that I tell you that's common in the household is no. Figure it out. And so as far as finances, man, I mean, I've learned a lot. I had a mentor in Ed Butowski. He's always on CNN, and he's always talking about the world or different things like that. And he's my mentor. And one of my favorite guys is Magic Johnson. I'm always meeting him in Bahamas, and we'll sit down and we'll talk for 5 hours, and we'll talk about business and life. And so since 2011 actually, and this year is the same thing. We sit and talk business, and I have to really thank him because he wants to give it to you, and he's a guy like me who wants to give it back, and whatever he's learned, he wants to give it back. And so I have to thank him for that. He's a guy I looked up to. He's a big sports figure, and he's made a lot of money, and helped a lot of people away from the court. And so that's something that I'm very, very intrigued about.
You hanging out with Magic Johnson? How about that?
Well, yeah, just for information purposes, man. That's all. I mean, just trying to soak it all in. Not so much of me being a fan or anything like that. It's because this guy can impart in me. I was always told if you want to go somewhere, you have to talk to somebody and learn from somebody that's been there. And Magic is there. He's been there, and that's where I want to go. So why not talk to somebody that been there? That's where I want to go.
Yeah, I talked to Glenn Perkins for a long time the other day, and he was telling me he has his future mapped out. He wants to play the rest of his contract, maybe go year by year after that until he's ready to retire. Then he wants to work for the Twins front office in analytics, help baseball players understand analytics. I mean, he's got it all mapped out. I'm imagining you have your future mapped out.
Definitely. I've had it mapped out for the last 10 years. And I always said that, I would like to be a sports analyst and do that on TV, whether it's ESPN or MLB Network or whatever it may be, or with the Twins, the Fox Sports North. You never know. And so just to kind of give my side of baseball, my view of baseball, and kind of create an image for the fans, a different image for the fans, and that's what I would like to do as well. But also go into the business venture world, and we're creating a venture capitalist fund right now. We're working on it, and I definitely think that just going out in the business world is going to be a challenge for me. But I'm not a guy who shies away from challenges and obstacles, and that's something that I really want to learn. So
I'm trying to envision the perfect business for you. Would it be baseball oriented? Would it be a restaurant? Would it be
restaurants? No. Restaurants are fun. You don't make too much money off restaurant. You make a lot of money if you got many restaurants and alcohol.
Yeah. Alcohol's where it's at.
And alcohol. If you're selling alcohol, they make all the money. Food, you make good money, you make a good living. But right now I'm trying to hit doubles, not singles.
Oh man. Few more topics, and we'll let you get out of here. I know you don't have a lot of time today. Mm-hmm. First, you and Eddie Guardado, like two of my favorite athletes of all time, back in the clubhouse, back with the Twins at the same time. Tell me your best Eddie Guardado story.
Rated R?
Or the top 20. Top 20.
Most of them are like rated R and maybe X.
It's a podcast. You can go X.
Oh, man. This guy is, woo.
What people have always told me about Eddie is you don't want to get caught alone in the shower with Eddie.
You don't want to you don't want to be in the shower with Eddie at all. Eddie, you can talk to the Rangers, you can talk to the Nationals, you can talk to the Mariners, you can talk to the Twins, and they can all tell you the same thing. Don't take a shower while Eddie's in there. It's weird. It's a funny shower, but it's weird. So if you're a new guy and you don't understand Eddie, you would think like this guy's crazy. I would never take a shower with him again. So that's one area. And just walking in a clubhouse, I remember Eddie. I hope his wife don't listen to this. I remember Eddie had some panties on, and he wore panties and pitched well. You
got me, man. You got me.
And Eddie pitched in these panties, for a long time. We just happened to see some panties in the clubhouse or whatever. Don't know where they came from.
What color?
I think they were pink. But
it had to be pink. It had to be.
He just put them on, and he pitched lights out for like a week and wouldn't wash them, wouldn't do anything. He just kept wearing them. Eddie's funny. He's funny, man. That's the best story I can give you that's clean.
You got a dirty story you can tell us?
No.
Well, maybe you can tell us about the panties. You can tell us about a lot of stuff.
Well, oh, man. No, I can't. I'm going to let him tell you the stories, but I mean,
Eddie's my next guest, so I'm going to have to put him on the spot with this
I don't want to put him out there like that. I mean, everybody knows that he's crazy,
yes,
of course, but one story for me is when he left the Twins and he went to Seattle and he signed a deal with Seattle to be the closer, and I had to face him. And so we're in Safeco Field, and I walk up to the plate, and he's about to get on the mound, and he looks at me and he licks his tongue out like sexual, and I looked at him. I'm like, time out. I couldn't concentrate. I lost all focus, and we had this big laugh. They split the screen on TV, and they had Eddie cracking up laughing on the mound, and me stepping out on the ground laughing. And I'm probably like, what the hell's wrong with you two? Hey, let's get on, play ball. And I couldn't focus because I'm so used to having him in a clubhouse, and so I had to step in the box and get serious. He had to get on the mound, take a deep breath, and so he threw me the first pitch. I hit a base hit.
Oh.
End up getting scoring a run, and we end up going. That was the go-ahead run, and he hated that, But we talk about it all the time. Make sure you bring that up.
I definitely will. Did you stick your tongue at him in a sexual manner after that?
No, I figured he would be upset because Eddie's a bulldog.
He is.
For him to laugh on the mound like that, that's breaking concentration. But Eddie's always been a serious guy. Once you get on the mound, he didn't like you. But for him to laugh at me, it shows that he might have had a little respect for me.
Oh, good Lord. I also remember you once telling me a funny story about being on Twins Caravan and somebody played a prank on you involving a car. Do you remember that one?
A car?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Corey Koski.
Yes, again, Koski.
This guy, the game is over. You know how we sit around the clubhouse and we wait, and it can be like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning before we leave the clubhouse, and Corey Koski would do the same. And so Corey left out. He left like 20 minutes before me, and for some reason, I don't know how he got in my car. I had a black Hummer with tinted windows, and so you can't really see in the car. So it's 1 a.m. and I'm walking out, and I say bye to Jock and I think LaTroy Hawkins, and I'm getting in my car, and I just take off driving. Right, I'm like 10 minutes away from the stadium in Minnesota. I'm at a light, and I look back, and I look in the rearview mirror, and I see a head like in the back of my car. I'm like, what is this? So I started reaching for this little pen. I had a pen, down in my little console right there, and I had a pen, and I saw it, and I turned around, and it was Koski. He said, hey, don't shoot, it's me. And Koski tried to really scare me, and dude, he could have got stabbed. I almost stabbed Corey Koski, and how would I explain that to the Twins? Corey comes in with the injury of stab wounds. This guy is sitting in the back of my Hummer hiding, and it's dark, and I'm like, wow, this Koski was crazy.
He was.
Yes, he was. It was pretty awesome.
You know what's crazy? That's not even the car story I was asking you about. It's a great one. I'm glad you brought it up. I think some of your teammates, again, I think it was on Caravan, tried to racially profile you and have it look like you were the black guy stealing the car in an all-white establishment. Do you remember that one?
I think I vaguely remember that. I think I remember that.
They hooked it up, so right when you got you're in a restaurant in some tiny little town like North Dakota or upper Minnesota.
Yeah, it was a tiny little town.
Yep. And they send you out to the car to get something, and as soon as you get there, they hit the alarm. And, of course, you're the only black person with 100 miles.
I remember that.
Okay, you do remember it. Good.
I'm trying to see who did that. Who was the guy that did that?
I wanted to say Jock, but Corey's probably involved.
Corey's always involved. Yeah. I mean, I think that I went outside, and I touched the door, and the alarm just went off. And I think the cops and everybody came, and I'm like, "Hey, the alarm just went off, and this and that." And I think I remember that. Koski set that up.
It's all Koski. It's always Koski.
I remember Molitor, Paul Molitor. set me up once again in Detroit Lakes. And so they had a snowmobile. So I was like, I've never been snowmobiling before. So it's like, yeah, you want to go snowmobile? They know I don't really get down like that. So they let me go on this snowmobile, and I'm riding this open land, right? I'm like, wow, I'm riding the snowmobile. It's awesome. It's cool, right? So when I was done riding the snowmobile after like 15, 20 minutes, so I came back to this corner of the field, and everybody's standing there. And so I came back and I got off, and I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. I've never, been on a snowmobile before. And they was like, but I start hearing this noise like that. I guess that's the ice on the lake that was freezing over. When you hear that noise, it's actually freezing. And I'm like, what is that noise? And they was like, well, you're on Detroit Lakes. I said, I know we're in Detroit Lakes. They said, no, you're on Detroit Lakes. I said, this is water that we're standing on? He's like, yeah. I took off running to the next street. Molitor was crying, laughing. So they set me up. It was late at night after the caravan. We went to a restaurant bar, and it was a field right there, and we was riding snowmobiles, and I never knew it. I thought it was land. It was actually a lake, and I don't understand that. I'm from the South.
That's beautiful. All right, one last serious question. A couple of quick hitters. We'll let you go.
Okay.
Every time I saw you after you left the Twins, you and I would end up sitting there talking one-on-one, and you tell me whether it's on the record or off the record or we're just BSing. You'd say, man, I didn't want to leave, and I wish I was still there. You'd always tell me something along those lines.
Yep.
Why? I mean, because, from the outside, I understand you have friends here and everything, but you go to the Angels, big money, California living. They loved you there. You met Magic Johnson. You had a lot of good stuff happen. You go to the Tigers. You got a chance to win. You're with some great teammates.
Loved it there.
But why? Why was it so important that you be a Twin again?
Well, just all throughout. No matter if I was in California and that good life out there, 40,000 fans every day. And it was a lot of fun in Detroit. Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Justin Verlander, Scherzer. We talking about a great team, a great organization. I didn't know that because they were my enemy for so many years. But they're a great organization, great crew, very tightly knit. And just knowing all that, to this day, through those 7 years, every year, I always say, man, I always wanted to be with a Twin. And I never wanted to leave the Twins. I wanted to be a lifer. And I would tell all these guys in the front office, tell Gardenhire, I'll tell everybody, I say, man, I never wanted to leave. Of course, Bill Smith was the GM then, and that didn't work out too well.
No, it
and I just, I didn't have much respect for that guy for a long time for saying I played too well for them. I didn't understand that. I never told anybody. I never came out in the paper and told anybody what he told me or anything like that. But the conversation I had was I played too well. And I never understood that. That's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to play well. But he was saying I outpriced myself and we can't bring you back. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And so when I left bitter, not with the fans, not with the organization, that one guy. And so I never wanted to leave, and I wish I can always tell the fans that. A lot of fans are like, why did you leave us? Why did you leave us? I never wanted to leave. I wanted to stay and have a lifelong contract and stay here no matter what. And it wasn't about the money; it was about the years.
And you've told me that you still have a connection with Terry Ryan.
And when Terry Ryan came back, I think it was like 4 years later. When Terry Ryan came back, man, that's my guy. We always emailed each other, to say hi and different things like that. And just the respect I have for him. Even when he became general manager in 1994, he was always talking to me, drive me around the cart, and we just talk about life, not just baseball. We're talking about how to be professional, and that's one guy that imparted in my life and helped me to see things in a different eye, and through a different lens. And so Terry Ryan is definitely a great man, a true professional, knows the game, and somebody I really, really look up to.
All right. Couple quick hitters. I do this with all my guests. It gets us away from sports. Talk about some other stuff, some fun stuff. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time?
Or what's something you've seen lately? Whatever jumps to mind.
Oh man, my favorite movie of all time would have to be Coming to America.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
What is that, velvet?
What, did I just
That's
see?
beautiful.
Did I just see on Twitter that Snoop Dogg had a Coming to America party with his son?
Did he?
I think he did.
That's pretty awesome,
That's
man. His son probably didn't know. He probably had his son sit down and watch
That's
the
right.
movie, and then he's like, "Wow, this is awesome. Let's do it." That's the only way, because the kids they really don't know. So I tell the kids right now, all you kids that are listening, go watch Coming to America.
Absolutely. And by the way, it reminds me of another Eddie story. I remember talking to Eddie one spring training back when he was with the Twins. He said, I spent the winter playing in a summer league in California. I played against Snoop Dogg. He said, I dribbled down the court one time, bust a jumper. Take that, Snoop Doggy Dog.
Snoop Doggy Dog?
Yeah, that's
Did
classic
he?
Eddie. Yes.
He probably did play against Snoop Dogg.
Eddie can play, too.
Eddie can
by the
play
way.
a little hoop.
Yeah.
He's okay. I seen him shoot.
Not as good as you?
Yeah, no, Eddie couldn't beat me.
Ooh,
He couldn't beat me.
okay.
Eddie knows that.
Okay.
He knows that.
All right.
I mean, he probably could shoot, but far as playing the game, no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
Ooh, okay. A little
Come on
trash
now.
talk. We
Come on now.
We have to engage Eddie on that one.
Yeah, when I retire, I'm going to play him one-on-one, see how that turned out.
I used to play puck that spring when Puck came down.
Puck can play.
Puck, I made the mistake of hitting a shot on Puck, and he would come down the next 5 trips down the court. I was guarding him, and I had scored on him. He came down the court, put a spin move on me, used his rear end to knock me about 8 feet out of the way,
Probably
and scored on me. He did not dunk this time, but he did score.
He could dunk. I would see him go see him play. I think it was Brookshire
Yep,
over here.
Brookshire's where we live.
And
Yep.
Brookshire is over here in Fort Myers, and there's a little court over there, and Kirby and all the guys would go over there and
Yep.
shoot. I wasn't going to play. He wouldn't let me play, so I just sit and watch those guys. I shoot around every once in a while, but he would play, and man, he could dunk.
Yeah.
He could shoot. He was very athletic. So it was a lot of fun watching him and knowing that he was a tremendous athlete, and it showed right there in center field, all those years he played here.
Favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show, man, woo. You know what? You guys probably don't remember Martin Lawrence.
I do. Yeah.
His show, Martin, it was pretty funny. To this day, I have that, all his seasons on my. It's called a Kaleidoscape and you can get all these movies on this Kaleidoscape, and I kind of put his shows on my on the screen, and I go to it all the time. Whenever I have family events on Thanksgiving or Christmas, all my family's in town, I actually put it on, and we're crying, laughing, in tears, and he's still funny to this day.
Favorite? Give me something from the world of music. Favorite album, favorite song, favorite artist, something like that.
Oh man, my favorite artist of all time was definitely Tupac Shakur. And he has some messages in there, and the way I grew up and the way he grew up, it was almost in the same, and so I could relate to a lot of that music, and like he told stories. Music today don't tell no story. You can just say one thing one time over and over and repeat it, and it becomes a great song, and it's a #1 hit. You're like, wow, there's no story, nothing into it. So one thing about Tupac, he told stories. You can kind of close your eyes and envision a movie. You close your eyes, listen to him. It kind of painted an image, a movie in your mind, and that's what Tupac Shakur did for me.
Last question. I have my guest answer this question. I've gotten amazing responses, including Terry Ryan telling me some stuff. Finish the sentence. I was wrong about.
Wow. I was wrong about. Why you give me a heads up so I can think about it?
It's more fun to see people struggle.
I'm struggling right now. I was wrong about. I was wrong about a lot of things.
See, I was wrong. I've been wrong about so many things. It ties me up too.
I've been wrong about a lot of things. I was wrong about I was wrong about marriage.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Why? How?
I thought it would be easy. I was gonna make love every day. And it, I can do what I want. It was just gonna be easy. I was the man of the house. I didn't have to do nothing. I didn't have to wash no clothes or anything like that. My first couple of years of marriage, I thought it was the other way around, but I figured out after 19 years, No.
Only took you 19 years.
It took me about 10 years. So for the last 9 years, you know, I've been washing dishes. I've been washing clothes. I've been ironing. I've been doing a lot of different things, mopping floors. I've been, you know, taking care of the home and doing a lot of different things. And, you know, one thing about it, man, my wife, I really appreciate her as being a domestic engineer that she is. So, you know, I thought it would be easy, but, you know, her life, what she go through is hard, you know. And so I was wrong about that. I figured out what marriage is all about.
You live up in Prosper, Texas. You're near Deion. Who else?
Oh, man, Latroy Hawkins, Deion Sanders, Craig Monroe, who play with the Tigers. There's a lot of different guys out there, man. And a lot of up-and-coming guys who are in the minor leagues that are, you know, working out with us and different things like that. Michael Choice with the Rangers, a young guy. He works out with me, and Jason Nix. So there's a lot of guys in Prosper, man. It's prospering. You know, when I first moved there, it was like 2,000 people. Now you got about 20,000, 25,000. So it's definitely growing.
Latroy Hawkins, he had a similar career to you in that it took him a long time to get settled, to figure it out. But then he had this incredible, long, successful career. You guys talk about that still?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's one thing that we talk about, and we talk about like a lot of kids today. They have a sense of entitlement. They can't accept failure. Like we talked about earlier, they can't accept failure and different things like that. But for us, we went through a struggle. And so it was for us to figure out, you know, the pieces and put them together and make adjustments and different things like that. And you went through so much struggle. We went through so much struggle that we're able to overcome a lot of different failures and struggles on the field and make adjustments. And that's why we have longevity, because what we went through in the minor leagues and trying to learn this game and different things that were the game of life, a game of baseball, and trying to learn these different things. That's why we're able to hold on and keep playing and keep making adjustments, not get a belly, not get fat, you know, and eat right and train right and figure out different ways. We kept making adjustments, and that's why Latroy is, you know, making his final walk this year. This will be his 20th season, and this is going to be his final walk, and he's done after this season. And I talked to Latroy last week, and he's like a brother of mine in baseball, and we still hang out with each other. He stays literally 15 seconds from my house. I can jog to his home, and I play with his kids. I keep his kids and do different things. I raise his kids, and he raised mine as well. So he's like a brother of mine, and he had a tremendous career, and he did everything he had to do, you know, as far as on the field and off the field. Ate right. He did what he had to do to prepare himself for the game every day, and so it's going to be tough to see him go, and you just don't know. For me, I'm taking it 1 year at a time. I don't know if this is my last year as well, but, you know, we'll see what happens at the end of the season.
Absolute last subject. How good is it for you to be back in camp and get reintroduced to Doug Mickavich's love handles?
Oh my God, Doug Mickavich's love handles. You know, I've been trying to tell him that he needs to get on that good, you know, 6-pack workout that I have. I'm trying to get him on a 6-pack workout, but he's not doing that. We actually, you know, Doug Mickavich and I, we stayed in contact all the time. He'll call me if I have a bad day, curse me out. If I have a great day, he'll give me inspiration, you know, different things like that. And then, you know, my son plays with Notre Dame, and he's a Florida State guy. Yep. So we played Florida State this year, and I flew to Tallahassee to watch Notre Dame against Florida State, and he's over there tailgating. But everybody knows Dougie. Everybody that walks by, we're talking about 80,000 people walk by and say, Doug Mickavich, Doug Mickavich, Doug Mickavich. I'm like, wow, you are huge here in Tallahassee. He is the mayor, the man. I couldn't believe it. I was over there tailgating with him, and we had a lot of fun. And just see him in the clubhouse now, man. That's my brother. I love him. Him and Chad Allen, and it's great to be back in his clubhouse, seeing all the familiar faces, yours as well. And that's what I miss, the family.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Souhan Unfiltered at SouhanUnfiltered.com. You can also find it at iHeartRadio at Souhan-Unfiltered. Thanks to The Local. Thanks to Kieran's Irish Pub. Thanks to O'Gara's. This is the Alive and Social Network. I have Eddie Guardado coming up as my next guest on Sunday. Terry Ryan, Rob Anthony, Gene Glenn, Glenn Perkins next Tuesday, I believe. Some great guests. I appreciate the time, Torii. It's always great to talk to you, and this was a blast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Sir.
You had me cracking up over here,
That's
man.
awesome. And the great thing is, as soon as I hit this end button, we're both going to think like 10 funny stories we should have told.
I know, man.
We'll save them
Never
up for another
fails.
time. Thank you, bud.
Thank you.